What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, The Show Off, and I'm back with another video, We the Black People, Volume 6. So today we're going to talk about the system, but before I even get into it, what I want to do is, normally I just jump straight into it, but what I want to do today is I want to share something with you. So without further ado, check this one out.
Make money off of child support. There's something called Title 4D, where let's say you go to court, dad is ordered to pay child support for mom. The state makes money off of this dad paying child support. The federal government reimburses the states, right, for collecting child support and dispersing it out. So you think, wait a minute, so if we had 50-50 custody, if we had kids are with mom half the time, with dad half the time, which by the way, research shows is the absolute best for kids, what happens with child support? It's greatly reduced or there's none. The more child support the state can reel in, the more the federal government pays the states. It's a business, you guys. You think and then of course we've got the feminazis out there saying, these deadbeat dads, these poor moms. No, number one, these poor moms fought against a dad trying to get equal custody. All we want to talk about is dads when they're not deadbeat, they're dead broke.
So listen, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I wanted to show that video before I even get started was because I've spoken on this subject a couple of times on this very page as well as on Facebook or whatever the case may be. And I always get a reaction that says that I'm triggered. I'm a triggered black man because of whatever personal situation that I have. So, ladies and gentlemen, truth is the truth no matter where it comes from. And it says more that you hear a black man speaking on this subject and you automatically assume that that's his situation than it could ever say. But I wanted y'all to see that what I say, no matter what my situation is, because people who come don't know what my situation is and don't even know if I'm on child support or if I'm not, and I don't divulge my personal situations one way or the other out here. I just know that I talk about a lot of things that don't have nothing to do with me or something that I'm going through or whatever the case may be, but I speak on things from a common sense perspective. But what I wanted to show is that a person who not only doesn't have the same genitalia as me, but also has a different skin complexion than I am, will tell you the same thing that I've been saying for years. That this is a business and that the business is skewed in the favor of the woman. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I also want to show you another video.
And the lanyard's still on from it, and there's a photograph on it. What is that?
It's a photograph of a baby's ultrasound.
Why? What does that mean?
It just represents life. I'm pro-life.
Boy, so you wear it on a badge. What kind of response do you get? And
I care about people's responses. I care about the fact that there's more black babies being aborted than born in New York City at this point. That 50% of black death in America is abortion. So I really don't care about people's responses. I perform for an audience of one, and that's God.
In this clip where Kanye is talking about he's God-fearing, what he's actually discussing is a movement called the eugenics movement that was actually started by a woman named Margaret Sanger, and she was actually the founder of Planned Parenthood, and she wanted to target black communities, and that's why there's a Planned Parenthood and black communities ready to abort every black child. And so I want to appreciate Kanye West for actually bringing this topic up, but as a God-fearing woman, movement is not about women wanting to go and kill their children. To strip women of their right is actually against God. Free will, which God has given to everyone. Why can't someone take their own choices up and decisions with God? Because no one's interfering with the sins that Kanye may have committed with his divorce. Should that be illegal?
So, ladies and gentlemen, in this video, we are talking about the system, all right? And the key word that I wanted to focus on in this part of the video is where she said free will, all right? And the same system that decided to take away abortion and the right to abort someone is the same people who takes away, and when you utilize the word free will, doesn't a man have free will whether he wants to pay for his child or not? And the system takes away his freedom, and it'll take away his driver's license and do all types of things to a man if he chooses not to adhere to a court ruling, right? And by the way, when we talk about things like child support or whatever the case may be, when we talk about things like child support, I want y'all to understand that child support is the only court proceeding where you don't have an opportunity to defend yourself. You don't have an opportunity to tell your story. You don't have to have nothing. You go in there, they won't look at your receipts, they won't look at what you have done, they won't look at the dynamics of your relationship, they won't look at the dynamics of what you do for your child. They just go in there and go strictly off numbers and make a ruling. It's the only court proceeding in the world that there's no defense. Now, with that being said, we're not just talking about child support when I'm talking about the system. We're talking about divorce. So since she mentioned divorce, I want y'all to understand that when y'all make these comparisons, which I touched on in the last video, your comparisons don't make sense, because that's only applicable, what she said about Kanye's divorce, if Kanye actually was the one who wanted the divorce. All right? You can't force a person to stay with you. And if we're tying all in, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about certified billionaires. And so much of the talking points that we have in our relationship talks in our black community is based off of money. And these are certified billionaires who couldn't stick together. Even though they're billionaires, there's nothing in the world that they can't touch. So what are we talking about here? What are we saying right now? What the fuck is going on? What are we really talking about? Because even billionaires can't seem to find happiness within each other. So maybe we are completely focusing on the wrong things. All right? So election time right around the corner, or whatever the case may be, ladies and gentlemen. We always hear these politicians talking about family structure and family value and all of that stuff, family values and all of that stuff. And then once they get elected, they immediately stop talking about that shit. Because it's only on the agenda when it's time to talk about getting elected. But they don't do anything to keep families together, or whatever the case may be. And this business, this engine that they have, actually does more to separate the family than to actually keep the family together. Now, with all of that being said, there are people who would stay in relationships because they don't have a choice, or whatever the case may be. But there are people, if it gets bad enough, people will leave. Okay? If all of these things weren't in place. Now, here's the thing. Because all of these things that the government provides and dictates, and I spoke on this when I was talking about marriage, they provide and they utilize to dictate how the separation will go. They have all of these things that dictate how the separation will go, but they have nothing that actually promotes staying together and being a family and having two parents in the household and being one unit. Now, because they have these things in place, you're more prone to leave the situation because those things are in place. And I'll go one step further. A lot of women who are out here chasing a man because he has this or have that, a lot of them have their mind not on reaping the benefits of being with that person, but reaping the benefits of divorcing that person. All right? When before they even get into this situation, they're talking about stability after the relationship. Now, we all know that marriage is supposed to be forever. It's supposed to be a commitment that you make forever. But people don't even talk about being married forever no more. It's one of those things that we don't value. All right? Why? Because part of it, and a big part of it, is because of this system that we have in place. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the reason that I'm talking about this on We the Black People is because this system, when we talk about child support, 86% of the people who pay child support are men. And ladies and gentlemen, of that 80%, 75% of that 86%, 75% of those people are black men. All right? We are the system. We are the system because we don't stay together. We don't get into these relationships for the right reasons. In other words, we're putting money into the system's pockets. All right? Now, I don't speak for the men who don't do anything for their kids. I never have. Who don't do anything for their kids. I never have spoke for those men. But a lot of women are now coming out and saying that the guys who should be on child support never get on child support. And a lot of women are saying that the guys who are good and do right end up on child support. Why? Because it's become a practice of extortion. If you don't do what I want you to do when I want you to do it, how I want you to do it, I am going to put you in the system and threaten your freedom and threaten your livelihood and threaten how you live. Ladies and gentlemen, if I have to drive to work, why would you take my driver's license? If I have to drive to work in order for me to pay you, why would you take my driver's license? You're only further impeding my progress to even get caught up. And then they don't even tell you. They don't tell you. Every person I know who's had their license taken behind child support, they don't receive a notification or nothing. You get pulled over and ta-da, your license is suspended and you don't even fucking have an idea. So that's simply what I'm saying is like, it's so skewed in the favor of women that you're kind of stuck on stupid. And it is what it is. And until we acknowledge that, like, when are we going to actually put it together in our mind that we actually really need each other and that we're better off together than separated? That our kids are better off together than to have a father living in different homes. And here's the thing, like the lady said in the first video, when it comes down to doing what's best for your kids, and it's been proven that having two parents being involved and maybe splitting time is actually what's best for the kids, then when do you put your kids first, even if the relationship didn't work, rather than utilizing them as a tool against your former partner? Show off.